So the other one I want to ask you about is the date drop cookies, and I never knew they were called that until Dad told me the name. They were called something else in my cookbook.
Okay, and you know, I don't make them much, and yet I know Rochelle likes dates, but I find them fussy to make. Now, and I never make them look like yours. It looks so beautiful with the raspberry jam, so perfect. But yeah, I'm lazy when it comes to dates. I'd probably make a date loaf and
Do you know that a lot of people don't even know what dates are?
I guess that's true.
It's old-fashioned, I think.
You know why that is? My face is looking, I need to get closer or something. I think that is because in the earlier days, there were a lot more raisins and dates used because there weren't as many fresh fruits available. So everything was either canned or, you know, like people love fruitcake. My kids will not touch fruitcake. They just think it's awful.
I have to agree. I'm not a really big fan of the fruitcake, and that is another old-fashioned one.
Yeah, and that's the reason, I think, is because you had a fruitcake ready, and then you always had something. If somebody came in, you got out the fruitcake and cut a few slices and put it on the plate, you know, and yeah, it was just a different kind of life than, but very, you know, there's not near as many people that like raisins as used to either. That's another thing. Like I've got a half a package of dates in my cupboard here that I probably had for 3 months or 4 months, and they're just, as long as they're wrapped up tight, they don't spoil, whereas, you know, fresh fruit does. So yeah.
Right. Well, those cookies are a bit fussy. Do you know, putting that little extra dollop on the top, and I've made them with dates, and I think they're very good, but I do prefer the raspberry jam. It has to be a thick jam. And what's nice is I kind of get to skip the step of making the date, you know, which I don't mind. And I know Mike really prefers the raspberry ones, but I've been making them for a long time, and they are absolutely my favorite cookies.
Right, right.
And I'm no stranger to the cookie. I've made many cookies, but this is my favorite cookie.
Right.
Okay. So tell me, what do you remember about the date drop cookies? I didn't know they were called date drop cookies until you told me one.
I see.
So what do you remember about those?
Okay. Well, first of all, I know there were 2 kinds of date cookies, but the date drops, I'm pretty sure, are the ones that you can see part of the date, and then there's a drop of dough in the middle on the top. And that was, for a long time, that was your grandpa's favorite cookie. It was something that was made pretty regularly, and it was, you know, I don't remember whether your grandma used the large flake oats or just the standard rolled oats for that. But I kind of think just the standard ones.
Yeah.
But they were good. They were, you know, a fairly substantial sized cookie, and I quite enjoyed them. I think it probably took me a while to get to appreciate the taste of dates, because they have well, kind of the outer covering of the date is a little bit, what would you say, kind of chunky and rough.
Yeah.
And if it's not blended together, then you can kind of feel those pieces in your mouth.
Are they kind of like a shell or a husky?
It's like a skin, or a little, not quite a shell, but anyway, I got to enjoy them, and I still do, except I don't really have them anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when do you have them?
The other type was a different type of batter. It was a smooth batter, and I don't know if you remember them or not, but it had 2 layers. They were cut out cookies, and then you put date in the middle, and you put the second layer on top and press the edges together, and so the dates were all concealed. And then when you bake them, well, they kind of flattened down a bit. But they were.
Really don't remember those ones.
Okay, I don't know whether they probably had a different name, but I can't remember what they were called.
Well, and I don't think Mom made those, but I know Mom made the date drop cookies, and so that's
Right.
what kind of keeps it going,
Right? Mhm.
you know. And then I kind of screwed with the recipe, and you know, I really like putting raspberry jam,
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, yeah.
and
Mhm.
they're very good. And I don't have to. I get to skip the step of preparing the dates, but I really like the dates, and Mike much prefers the raspberry. But maybe you're
I
not
see.
supposed to screw with these
Oh, I
old
think you-
recipes, but I think they're good both ways.
You can do what you want, yeah.
Yeah, they're so good. They really are my favorite cookie. And I know that matrimonial cake, this is getting totally off the subject, but date squares, or what used to be known as matrimonial cake, that's
Right.
very old fashioned. There's lots of people that have never heard what matrimonial cake is.
Well, they mostly know it as date squares, yeah. Mhm.
And I don't even know if that's that common or popular anymore, but I remember one time at work, one of my coworkers' wives brought in date squares, and I ate 3 of them, and they were like, "Wow, you really like date squares?" And I said, "Well, they taste like my grandpa." So I ate 3 of them.
Yeah,
And I
Well,
don't
they're-
really think I've had one since that.
they're very good. I'm not sure when we had them. Somebody has made them. Someone in our circle of friends has made the date squares, but it hasn't been for a while,
Well, that was Grandpa's favorite cake, and
right?
yeah, I wish I could do a taste test and have Grandma taste the date one and mine and see what she thinks. I think I already know which one Grandpa would pick, so I won't get offended. But I wonder about Grandma. She might come over to my side.
Well, that may have been Grandpa's favorite cake, but certainly second in line was chocolate cake with caramel icing. Homemade caramel icing that was made with real cream,
Yeah.
brown sugar, and it was very good.
I don't know if we should be talking about these things this late at night.
Mhm. Well, and of course, the other thing that your grandma made was boiled raisin cake,
Mm,
and it usually had caramel icing on it.
yeah. Well, you could put that caramel icing on a rubber boot and it would taste good.
Pretty close, yeah.
Uh, Today, I'm going to show you how I'm going to make the date drop cookies 2 ways. The original way with dates, and the way that I like to make them with raspberry jam. And I haven't revealed exactly why I'm doing it this way yet, but there is going to be a taste off later. And I just wanted to show you these dates that I'm going to be using. These are not the dates that you're used to seeing, probably, as my guess. The block of dates from the old days that were really very hard. I think sometimes you had to work at them to get them apart. These are just kind of unreal. And I already pulled the stem off of this one and the stone. But they are just like nature's candy. They're so good. And so I think that, you know, today's dates at Costco is quite a bit different than the ones that were available back in the day when people were making matrimonial cake and these cookies and other things using dates. It tells you in the recipe to go ahead and start cooking the dates on the stove with some brown sugar and water. And when they're nice and soft, you're supposed to mash them up with a fork. So this is what I got. I think it's impossible to make them completely smooth because there's skins in there. But we're gonna do half the batch with this and half the batch with my raspberry jam. Now, I don't know what had happened, but I started to think that maybe raspberry jam would really work with this, because this brand, and if you're gonna make this, do not screw with the brand, because I know this works wonderfully with this recipe, because this jam is really, really thick. You would never ever want to use any kind of a preserve with these cookies that is not thick like this, because it will not turn out to look or taste as good. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is make all of these cookies uniform, and I just use the big cookie scoop for that.
it's taken me a lot of practice to get this method exactly right. So the date drop it's the cookie. You have to make a little well for the jam or the dates. There's a little piece of dough that goes on top, and I have really made lots of mistakes with these over time. So I'll kind of show you what I'm thinking. So first thing you do, I think, is you roll it up. Now I'm gonna take the little dollop for the top out of the cookie. And I found a way to use Mom's, you know, this used to come out of a hamburger press. Remember those old things? So I don't use the hamburger press, but I have found a lot of uses for this little thing. So I'm gonna show you something. So I usually just press it down. Now, I have a very good method for this now, but I'm gonna show you one of the ones that I used for a while that didn't work as well. So I had a little cookie cutter. I made it like that. I took a fork and I pulled out the little dollop. And then I had to kind of, you know, one thing I learned that was a mistake is that you need to keep a nice firm bottom on this cookie. Because if you take too much out and you make it too thin, the jam and everything weighs it down, and then the cookie doesn't stay together when you're eating it. So these are all things that I've just learned over the years. Okay, so that's kind of maybe how I used to do it. Okay, I'll show you how I do it now. So now I take the little dollop out. I use parchment paper quite a bit. And then I found a new use for a shot glass. So this is just going to, you twist it, it makes a nice little dip and a nice even bottom surface for the cookie. It's gonna spread out quite a bit while it's baking. So if I thought I wanted to make that a little bit smaller, say like that, and then do this, that's probably more what I'm going for. Okay, so I'm gonna do the rest of them. And then I think we're gonna do some dates, and on the next one, we're gonna do some raspberry jam. Okay, so I finished getting these ready, just the way I showed you. Now, again, I've done this many times, so I do have a system. It is gonna be weird putting the dates in though, because, you know, I'm used to just dropping in a bit of jam, but we'll see what we get. Okay, so I'm making the tops here. And again, I just find this little thing to be just the easiest way to do that. Okay, so we're gonna get some dates. Whoops, there's already a spoon in there. My hands are clean, so we're just gonna try to scoop them nice and neat as we can. They don't have to be perfectly round because I think the heat in the oven will sort of take care of that. Those look beautiful. And as they cook, they'll kind of spread and I like them to get a little bit brown. And Dad was saying on there that he wasn't sure if Grandma used the large flake oats or the quick oats. I've tried them both ways. You could probably do half and half. This is 2 cups of the large flake and 1 of the quick oats. And I find that to be a really good combination. These go approximately 15 minutes at 350. I'm doing them on convection. And I know exactly how they're supposed to look when they're done because I have made these a lot of times.
Time goes by so slowly. 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 So slowly.
Oh, those I think just turned out really good. Some people might not go that dark, but I like the fact that these cookies can be a little bit crunchy and soft at the same time. And here's the date ones. They look so different because I'm not used to making these. My secret to every cookie is to top with a little bit of salt. Of course, I really like the combination of salty and sweet, but I'm telling you, try it. It just really makes a difference, I think. Just a little to go crazy. Oh, my kitchen smells amazing. Beautiful. Okay, so this is the finished product. I let the cookies sort of cool a little bit on the cookie sheet so that they really set up well. So take a shot of these. I wanted to show you that the bottoms are nice and strong. That's important on this type of cookie. And when I pick it up, nothing's coming apart. So what nobody really knows yet is my plan on this. So because Rob and Betty are coming here in a few days, it was the perfect opportunity for me to send both kinds to aunties. I was originally planning on mailing them. And then they're also, right after that, going to Dad and Barb's. So my instructions, I haven't even asked anybody yet about the Zoom call. The idea that I had is that we would do a tasting on the Zoom and everybody would have the cookies and we'll see how that goes. So stay tuned.
Oh! Hey Siri, set timer for 14 minutes.
Okay, 14 minutes and counting.
Waiting for cookies. Hey Siri, play me waiting playlist. Thank you.
If I could save time in a bottle, the first thing that I'd like to do
Me so hungry for cookie.
is to save every day till eternity passes away, just to spend them with you.
Hey Siri, check the timer.
Could make
Here's the
days
timer.
last forever.
Oh,
If words could make wishes come true.
You are foggy though, Auntie. It's true.
I know, but here I am. I've got cookies. And
Okay.
I don't know why I'm foggy, but I am. So
Well, didn't you say your weather was foggy?
it's foggy outside, really. foggy.
Well, maybe the fog got inside.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's okay that your quality isn't that good because we know that your actual quality is very good.
Okay. And besides, I am wearing my
Oh.
shirt.
Nice.
There you go.
Very good.
I've got my pajamas on. Yeah, I'm into my winter pajama wear now, so.
Oh,
Yeah, and we've been out and about, so we've got an indigenous poppy on here with 3 feathers on it.
Yeah,
I have kind of a Hawaiian shirt on, but we have not been to Hawaii in some time. So I've been working on this video for such a long time, and it is almost impossible, Dad. I'm so surprised for how long it's taken me to nail you down and get you to sit still long enough to eat cookies.
Oh, I see. Well, here's the proof that they still got the sign on them.
This is
Well,
what it's like to get on your social calendar, Dad, is that this video, I've been working on it for so long, I literally have 4 different hairstyles.
Well, Eleanor, you'd be surprised at how many people laughed today when I had people here, brought me some stuff to do some judging for, the Remembrance Day poems and stuff. And so I was pulled these out, so I showed them this, and she just thought this was wonderful. She said, what a wonderful thing, the personal caring that this person is doing for you. Like we were talking about, how busy people are, how hockey takes over, then this takes over, and parents are so stressed and all that stuff. And then when I talked about this, said, like, I'm not very stressed about that anymore because I don't have to do things. I mean, there are things I do have to do, but so I showed her this and she just thought it was wonderful. So there you go. You're famous.
That your homework is to eat cookies.
Yeah.
So, Auntie, will you remember these date cookies? Like, were these made in your childhood?
Yes.
Okay.
And you know what? They were not my favorite cookies. It isn't that I didn't like dates, but I don't know. I didn't really like them. I'm not saying I didn't like them, but they weren't my favorite cookies. We'll put it that way.
Okay.
And they weren't unusual to have because we have them quite often.
They weren't. And they probably weren't quite as big as these ones.
Not quite.
Maybe quite as big.
And you could usually see a little more of the date.
Yeah.
The drop on the top didn't flatten down quite so much.
But these ones, these raspberry ones are more, you see more raspberry. So anyway.
Yeah. So one thing that occurred to me is, did either of you see Grandma? Like my mom made them too. Did anybody witness how they were made? Because I envisioned that a little well would have had to get made for the dates or the raspberries, but maybe they just got plunked on top.
No, I think there was a well made in there.
Was there? Yeah, I never
Probably
witnessed
either with a spoon or a thumb, I'm not sure which.
My dad loved dates, so I would imagine that there was a generous portion of dates. Now I should show you the date cookies that I have in my freezer. I'll be right back because people buy these cookies. They're like this. I'll show them to you. Carry on. I won't go.
well, we used to make a cookie like this and we called them thimble cookies. So they were about half the size, and you'd make a indentation with your thumb, and then we filled them with raspberry jam or crabapple jelly or strawberry jam, and they would soften, and they were kind of everybody's favorite. But I love dates, so these would be a big hit for me.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's
there's the date cookie. It's like a double.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Did I send some of those with you when you were here, Bob and Barb? No. So you
I
see,
don't
they're
think
smaller in size.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're double.
like a sandwich, yeah. Mhm.
They're my friend Audrey makes these and she sells them, and people just they just go like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have oatmeal in them?
Yeah, they're an oatmeal cookie. I think they'd be a rolled cookie, I think.
Yes.
I think they're rolled and cut out and then put dates in between. And,
Yeah.
Well, with this size, there's no seconds.
Yeah,
You know,
that's me though, because I like the idea of having one hearty cookie
Yeah.
and not having to have two. If I have two like that, I better be getting on the old treadmill or something. Okay, so I want everybody to start with the date one because let's go into the past first and then bring it into the future. I don't have a date one. We ate all those, but I will join you when we do the raspberry. So yeah, so go ahead. If you want to eat all of it or half of it, that's up to you. But
Oh,
yeah, so go ahead. Don't be all mannerly.
I liked it when we put the little cap on the top. That's the part I
I
like.
do too.
Yeah. I've never seen another cookie like that with the drop on the top. And I probably made the dates a little small. Like that circle could have been bigger, but I forgot that dates don't really spread out very much.
They're very good.
Mhm.
After all this time in my freezer.
Yeah, and chewy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're in this video, you guys don't know yet, but I'm showing how I make them.
I think these might even be better than Mom's were.
Wow. Well, I think Grandma would be kind of smitten that I'm making these today, maybe.
You know, she wouldn't be upset that I said that because
Mhm.
she'd just be thrilled to know that you were carrying on the tradition.
Mhm. I think Grandpa wouldn't say a word because he doesn't talk when he's eating.
Mm.
So is that bringing back some memories, do you think?
You know what? You expect a lot of people like me.
I do.
I, you know, I can't say that I absolutely remember the exact moment of making these cookies, but I do remember we had them and we had them often.
Hmm.
right.
And I would have preferred to have had Grandma Fairbairn's oatmeal squares, which basically had no flour in them, oatmeal, brown sugar, and butter. And to this day, I love them. They're just as
Awesome.
rich as they can be.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Mhm.
As a kid, that's what I loved.
Mhm.
But anyway, that's okay. There was lots
So-
of things Mom made that I didn't appreciate then that I appreciate now.
Are those bringing back some memories for you, Dad? Some familiarity?
Oh, yes, like I was often around the kitchen when she was baking things.
Yeah.
So
Wanting to help.
I can't, oh, there was the odd time I helped. Sometimes I stirred things.
Mhm.
And I sometimes tasted raw dough and that sort of thing.
Oh, we always did that.
Mhm.
Never
Yeah.
killed us.
Well, I think the reason that I make them is that I really liked them as a kid. And I had them at Grandma's house and I had them at our house, and both Mama and Grandma made them. They both did a very good job of it. But I liked them enough to make them myself.
Yes, yeah.
So Mike wasn't like maybe the biggest fan of dates. So anytime you want to switch gears and go to the raspberry one, you can. But you know that brand of raspberry jam? You'll see it in the video, but I don't remember the name of it. But it's very thick. And that's the only way that really works in these cookies, is that you can't put any preserves in these that are very runny or liquidy.
Right.
It has to be almost as thick as dates. And anyway, I just adapted them because I know that Mike wasn't the biggest fan of dates and I still wanted to make these cookies. But yeah, so I'm going to have some too because I have one here.
Well, we didn't get raspberry ones, I guess.
Yes, I did.
Do we? Well,
Did
we haven't really opened up the other package, so.
Is there a
Oh.
second chapter or do we
Yeah.
get the?
It's too
You
bad.
guys just eat them already and you're being coy.
No, we haven't, honestly. This has been very difficult because every time you opened the freezer, they were right there. And I thought, wonder if I broke off a little piece or something. And I bet you she's never going to do it anyway. I thought, I was so tempted so many times.
You mean you really don't have one of these with you right now?
Yeah, I do now.
Oh, okay.
But I've been looking at them since when?
Well, we didn't want to bury them too deep in the freezer in case we couldn't find them again.
Mhm.
I know. Yeah, they
I
are
don't
good.
even-
They're really good.
I don't even want to say how many batches I've made since I've sent these to you.
Oh my.
Quite a few, like at least 3.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How
I
many
think
does it make?
Well, because I make pretty big cookies, I'd want to say 3 sheets of 9.
Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
not that many, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, well, they're a nice size for sure.
Mhm.
Mhm, very nice. I love dates. I love matrimonial cake. There's
Mhm.
nothing better than matrimonial cake.
Mm.
and I love dates, period.
And I don't know whether we mentioned it or not, but if you go down in the States and say matrimonial cake, they have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
It has to
You
be
could-
called
you
date squares.
date
You can
squares.
almost say that in Canada,
Yes,
and nobody knows, and it's generational too. It's pretty old fashioned.
yeah. Well, they call that the funeral square or the wedding square, whichever you want. You know, they're because they show up at every wedding and every funeral. And I think it started in Manitoba because my kinfolk there in Boissevain, that's all they talk about is matrimonial squares.
I haven't had them in years.
My, I
Well, my
wish I'd
cookie
taken
is
something.
gone.
Oh, is it? I'm
Well,
savoring mine.
Oh,
It's
well,
made
I'm
it-
gonna,
It's made its way lower in geography. It'll be settling on my lower body.
Would
well,
that be,
I'm slowed down because I don't want anything to settle down to my lower body right now.
Not right now. Those just joining us, Auntie is feeling 100%. So in your world, not that it's a competition, but would your favorite be the oatmeal or the date drop cookie or the raspberry cookie?
I like the raspberry one, I have to say. Not that I have anything against dates, and I do like them in other things too, but I think I like the raspberry one the best.
Okay, Dad?
Well, it's kind of a toss-up because I like them both just about as one as well as the other,
They're both good in their own way, aren't they?
right? Mhm.
They're quite different.
yeah,
Yeah,
So you
pretty-
can break off a half quarter of one in one hand and a quarter of the other in the other hand. You go, yeah, they go well together.
Barb, what's your vote?
well, I like them both because I love soft, chewy cookies. And both of those ingredients, the raspberry and the dates, lend themselves to being soft, making things soft and chewy.
Yeah.
I love them.
When they
Well-
first come out of the oven, they're actually kind of crunchy and soft.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I like to cook them so that they get brown,
Yeah,
but I
Yeah.
like that they're crunchy and soft all at the same time. But when you put them in the freezer and you take them out, they're just not going to be crunchy anymore. But they're,
No,
it-
and that's okay.
true. Mhm.
that's okay.
they freeze really well, and I think they taste a lot different. The dates are kind of mild, and the raspberry is a little bit sharp.
Right.
But it's a really good recipe.
Mhm.
Well, are you going to share it?
I've never really not shared it.
Okay,
Yeah, like they're called date drop cookies. I've just substituted the dates for raspberries. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
no secret, or I don't keep them to myself. Anybody can ask me for it, and I'll send it to them for sure.
But you did say you're going to show us how you go about making them.
Yeah. Well, I had to figure it out because in those old recipes, you know, they really didn't ever do a very good job of the method.
No,
I'll bet you Aunt Hazel didn't have much of a recipe box because she was one of those people that I can't relate to that bakes from her mind.
oh,
I don't bake like that. I follow a recipe and I measure.
people have that gift of knowing how much flour, sugar,
Yeah.
whatever, all the,
I
they
don't
have a gift
that,
of knowing that.
I have not that gift at all. It's
I
right
don't
up there
either.
with being born with a compass. I have no built-in geography. I can't make a recipe without
No.
I
No, I
need a
can't.
guidebook or some sort of compass. I guess my recipe is a compass for me. But and the method to me is as important as the ingredients because there
Yeah.
are some no-nos that you know, I've made lots of mistakes making these cookies, and it's taken me a long time to kind of get it down and perfect it.
Yeah,
And it, you know, like it's like most cookie recipes say bake at 350 for so many. And in my oven, which is just an ordinary oven, I find cookies do better at 330.
Mm.
oh,
You know, so that's when I do cookies at 330. And
Huh.
everything else I usually do at the normal temperature, but I just do
Like
better.
each oven is a little different, I'm sure.
yeah,
Well, and my new oven has convection, and this is the first time I've ever been able to put 2 racks of cookies in at the same time, and I love it.
okay.
I love it. It's so much quicker. Well, one of my best memories of being a child on the farm was when Grandma was baking cookies and they just come out of the oven, and she'd call us kids in from playing in the yard, did we want to come in and have a cookie? And of course the answer was yes. And they were so good. I have so many memories around food and just the warmth of Grandma's house and how warm she was. And it's all just wrapped up around the cookies and the this and that. Anyway, I hope everybody enjoyed having a little treat, and thanks for following instructions. That's amazing.
Thought it would never happen, but yeah.
Had quite a few good laughs over it, Eleanor. So you just have to know this person. She's a super organized woman who doesn't understand why her dad is so hard to get hold of. Why is he so busy? Why does he have such a busy social calendar?
And it's cookies. Like, you can't sit down. What?
Slowly, slowly,